And welcome back. In this episode, we're going to talk about SMTP, which is not necessarily an Azure resource, but we're going to abstract this resource and this service in the same manner we do Azure resources, so that the programmer can consume basically consistent API interfaces. We're going to use this SMTP account later when we do some programming to send ourselves a test email. Okay, so the first step is to map an SMTP account. You'll notice that this looks just like mapping a storage account, except it's got different configuration information. As you also notice, everything is encrypted at rest inside the database. Another thing to notice is that we've started our abstraction process here with the account name. All right, the next step is to create a shortcut. We're going to create a shortcut name, and SMTP email is our default shortcut name if you're going to use our automation tools. One of the neat components of our automation tools is a background worker, which will pick up off a SMTP queue and send out email messages based on your account routing. So your programmers, in order to send an SMTP email, need only enqueue an SMTP email request, and everything will be taken care of from that point forward. Okay, the next step is to open up your mappings tool and map an account ID to an environment name and a federation name. As you can see here, we've mapped a Mandrill account to each of our environments, but we haven't yet mounted it to a shortcut name. So we'll go over to the shortcut mapping links. Here's where we create a link between our shortcut name and the mapping ID. These mapping IDs, of course, hide a lot of complexity, and the shortcut name is the only thing that the programmer actually has to use. So now, let's talk about testing. Okay, so now we're ready to test our setup. Let's go to the SMTP tester. Now, the SMTP tester is built to test both the direct email and the actual enqueuing and sending by a worker of the email. Because we haven't really covered workers yet, we're going to come back to this later. But the direct email test can certainly be used right now. Alright, so we'll select direct email test, and it's going to ask for a shortcut, which we only have one here. And up will come the email test dialog. And through the magic of pause, we filled out this form for you. Something to note is that the sender's email address must be in the same domain that your account is linked to. This is basic email account protocol and has nothing to do with AzStudio. So now that we've filled it out, we're going to send myself an email. And there we go. Very easy. If this was not configured correctly, or there was an issue with the SMTP transaction, that message would show up here, and you'd be able to debug. Now would be a great time to pause the video and send yourself an email and assure yourself that the system does work. Additionally, if you want to use the send email message, you'll see the same dialog, but the item will be enqueued, and you won't see an error message or a send complete message directly. What you'll see instead is that the email will come to you a little later, or a little slower, as the queue is taken up by the worker at a regular interval and the emails are sent out. So this is a great example of how AzStudio's APIs and editing tools don't just extend into Azure. They extend into other PaaS type offerings that you're going to need to consume to actually produce a product. Emails are frequently used and frequently necessary to do common tasks in almost all of your cloud software. Thanks.